the art of persuasion, political rhetoric through the ages. From the grand orations of ancient Rome to the fiery debates of modern politics, the ability to sway public opinion has always been a crucial skill for leaders. Politics is, always has been, and always will be about persuasion. The ancient Greeks and Romans understood this well, using their forums and agoras as stages for impassioned speeches and debates. These early politicians knew that the right words, delivered in the right way, could change the course of history. Politicians need to convince us to vote for them. They must present their ideas compellingly, making us believe in their vision for the future. This is not just about policies. It's about connecting with people on an emotional level, making them feel heard and understood. They need to rally support for their policies, whether it's through town hall meetings, protest rallies, or grassroots campaigns. The goal is to build a movement to create a sense of urgency and importance around their cause, and sometimes they need to convince us that up is down, black is white, and that tax cuts for the wealthy actually benefit everyone. This is where rhetoric can become a double-edged sword, used to manipulate as much as to inspire. Throughout history, politicians have used every tool at their disposal to persuade the public. From the pamphlets of the Enlightenment to the posters of the early 20th century, each era has had its own methods of communication. Speeches, pamphlets, rallies, and even good old-fashioned door-knocking have all played a part. These traditional methods created a direct line of communication between politicians and the public, fostering a sense of personal connection and trust. But the game has changed. The digital age has revolutionized how we receive and process information. No longer are we limited to town squares and printed materials. Now the entire world is a stage. The internet and social media in particular have ushered in a new era of political rhetoric. Platforms like Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram allow politicians to reach millions instantly, but this also means that their words are scrutinized more than ever before. And frankly, it's a bit of a mess. The speed and reach of social media can amplify both truth and falsehood, making it harder for the public to discern fact from fiction. This has led to a chaotic information landscape where sensationalism often trumps substance. The way politicians communicate with us today is fundamentally different than it was even a decade ago. The immediacy and interactivity of digital platforms have changed the rules of the game, making political discourse more dynamic but also more volatile. And to understand why this matters, we need to take a closer look at how we got here. By examining the evolution of political rhetoric, we can better understand the challenges and opportunities that lie ahead in this new digital age. The digital soapbox, politicians and the rise of social media. Remember when politicians had to, actually talk to people? They would go out into their communities, shake hands, and look their constituents in the eye, give speeches, hold town halls, maybe even answer a tough question from a journalist once in a while. It was all about direct human interaction and accountability. Those days seem quaint now. The face-to-face interactions, the public debates, the town hall meetings, they all seem like relics of a bygone era. Today, politicians can bypass traditional media entirely and speak directly to voters through social media. A tweet, a live stream, or a post can reach millions instantly. Platforms like Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and yes, even TikTok have become the new battleground for hearts and minds. These platforms are where political discourse now thrives. Politicians can craft their message, control the narrative, and target specific demographics with laser-like precision. They can tailor their messages to resonate with different groups. On the surface, this seems like a good thing, right? More direct engagement, fewer gatekeepers, greater transparency. It promises a more connected and informed electorate. Unfortunately, it hasn't quite worked out that way. Why? Because these algorithms prioritize sensationalism and engagement over truth and nuance, often leading to misinformation and polarization. Algorithms and outrage how platforms amplify emotion over truth. In today's digital age, social media platforms have become the primary source of information for many people. But have you ever wondered why certain posts seem to grab your attention more than others? Social media platforms are businesses. They thrive on user engagement, and their primary goal is to keep you on their site for as long as possible. The longer you stay, the more ads you see and the more revenue they generate. and their business model is simple. Keep users engaged for as long as possible. This is achieved by showing you content that is most likely to elicit a reaction, whether it's joy, sadness, or anger. How do they do this? By feeding us content that triggers an emotional response. The more intense the emotion, the more likely we are to engage with the content, share it, and keep coming back for more. And what triggers a stronger emotional response than outrage? Outrage is a powerful emotion that can drive people to act, share, and comment more than any other feeling. The algorithms that power these platforms are designed to maximize engagement, not promote truth or accuracy. They prioritize content that generates the most interaction, regardless of its veracity. This creates a dangerous feedback loop, where the most divisive, inflammatory content rises to the top. The more controversial the content, the more it gets shared and the more it spreads. And guess who benefits from this? Politicians peddling fear, anger, and misinformation. They exploit these platforms to amplify their messages and manipulate public opinion. This isn't just a harmless quirk of the internet. It has real-world consequences. The spread of misinformation and the amplification of divisive content can lead to increased political polarization and social unrest. Studies have shown a direct correlation between social media use, the spread of misinformation, and political polarization. The more time people spend on these platforms, the more likely they are to encounter and believe false information. We are literally being programmed to hate each other. The algorithms are designed to keep us engaged, but in doing so, they are also driving us apart, creating divisions and fostering animosity. The Fairness Doctrine, a blast from the past or a lesson unlearned? Remember the Fairness Doctrine? No? Well, that's part of the problem. From 1949 to 1987, this FCC regulation required broadcasters to present controversial issues in a fair and balanced manner. It wasn't perfect, but it did help to prevent the kind of one-sided, hyper-partisan broadcasting we see today. The repeal of the Fairness Doctrine in 1987 is often cited as a turning point in the fragmentation and polarization of American media. Without any obligation to present opposing viewpoints, broadcasters were free to cater to niche audiences with increasingly extreme views. Sound familiar? It should. The same dynamics that are playing out on social media today. Section 5, AI, the new spin doctor in town. If you thought social media was bad, buckle up, because artificial intelligence is about to take things to a whole new level of creepy. AI-powered tools are already being used to analyze voter data, target political ads with terrifying accuracy, and even generate personalized propaganda messages. Imagine a world where every political ad you see, every social media post you encounter, is tailored specifically to exploit your hopes, fears, and biases. That's the future AI is building. And it's not a future I'm particularly excited about. Section 6, Generation Scroll, growing up in a world of digital discourse. For younger generations, the line between the online and offline worlds is increasingly blurred. They get their news, form their opinions, and engage in political discourse almost entirely online. And while this digital fluency is impressive, it also makes them particularly vulnerable to the pitfalls of social media. Without the benefit of historical context, critical thinking skills, or even a basic understanding of how algorithms work, young people are ill-equipped to navigate the treacherous waters of online political discourse. We are failing them. Section 7, fighting back against fake news, media literacy as a weapon. So, what can we do? How do we fight back against the tide of misinformation, manipulation, and outright lies that flood our digital feeds every day? The answer, as cliché as it sounds, is education. We need to teach media literacy in schools, starting at a young age. We need to equip people with the critical thinking skills they need to distinguish fact from fiction, identify bias, and understand how algorithms shape the information they consume. Knowledge is power. Section 8, building a better information ecosystem, solutions for a healthier digital democracy. Media literacy is a good start, but it's not enough. We need to fix the internet itself. That means holding social media companies accountable for the spread of misinformation on their platforms. It means investing in independent, fact-based journalism. And it means finding ways to amplify credible voices over the din of digital noise. It's a daunting task, but the stakes are too high to ignore. The future of our democracy may depend on our ability to build a healthier, more trustworthy information ecosystem, and frankly, that's a future worth fighting for.